welcome back to another video here on Many Ways Films. Some people have been asking me how I color grade or color correct my video, especially for the Nikon footage. I want to say from the very beginning that I'm not a color grader. I have learned all of these things mostly by myself. It's been trial and error. Like with photography and video, there are certain rules that if you follow, things can go on smoothly. Sure, there are some things in photography and video that you probably shouldn't do because they're not gonna come out good. And I'm sure the same thing applies for color grading. But if you like how the colors look on my video, this is how I do it in DaVinci Resolve. If you follow these steps, you're very likely to end up having a very similar result to mine. It's probably not going to be identical because of light circumstances, lens that you might have used or something like that, but it will be pretty close to this. So let's say that you have already dragged the video that you want in your timeline. You're gonna go into the color section, and the way that I do it is that I hit Alt S, and these are the node grade, the grade nodes or node grades. I don't know what people call them. Let's see, node grade. Yeah, it's a node grade. And I've done this in a different node, the following step, but I don't know how much matters in which order you do it, but I'm gonna start in the first one. I'm gonna go ahead and hit effects. It's on the top right corner, and then there's color space transform, so you're just gonna drag that into your first node. And then again, like I said, this is one of those things where you might end up doing something that in my opinion is good, but maybe you shouldn't do, or something like that. But for me, it works. So I usually select one of these input color spaces. Usually I select the Blackmagic, the Generation 4. This is the Blackmagic Design Video Gamut Generation 4. You can see it changes a little bit, and here you can see the scopes, so like the parade and like all the color information. So from what I learned, you want this, the colors, the red, green, and blue, to not be super compressed. You want them to be a little bit extended, like the way they are. For example, if you can see like the reds are very strong right there, or if we do something like this, the blues are really high. So like I said, I usually choose the Blackmagic one. I feel like that's the one that works best for me, and it's the Video Gamut Generation 4. Then I go to the input gamma, and I also select the Blackmagic Generation 4. But see, it already looks good by selecting sorry, which one is it? The Generation 4. Yeah, if you choose the Generation 4, I think that looks pretty good right there. Again, this is just my opinion. I really like how it looks right there. So now I'm gonna go to the output color space. I'm pretty much always selecting the Blackmagic ones. I like how it looks here in the Generation 5. And then is the output gamma. Let's go Blackmagic. Yeah, Generation 4 right here. I think this one looks good. This is the Blackmagic Design Video Gen 4. You can see before and after. Before we did that, that's how it looked. That's how it looks now. I'm gonna hit play. There we go. That's how it's looking right now. Notice how bad it looks on the highlights. We're gonna have to edit that, because if we go in here, it doesn't look that bad. Plus, my forehead looks so shiny. So we're gonna fix that there. Now we're gonna go to the second one, and this is where we're gonna do our, like here, the gamma and the gain. So the gain is gonna go down somewhere around there, and then I'm gonna do the gamma a little bit higher. You can see here the parade, how it's looking. There's not really a number that I can tell you that I like better, but I don't know. You can kind of see right here how it did the lift. If you bring it up, it's gonna look like washed out. This is just to pretty much lift the shadows. So whatever you want to do, if you bring it down, it's gonna be really dark. It's not gonna look good either. So I feel like right there it looks pretty good. In a second we're gonna see if we can fix a little bit better the highlights in my forehead. I'm just curious if we change the one of these ones right here, if we can do any good to it. But from what I can see, I like this one. It's not so saturated. And this is good to do. Like, this is something that I do a lot of the time, is that I go once again through this and try to see if it improves a little bit. But again, most of the time I use the black magic ones when I'm transforming the colors. But it doesn't mean that that's the way you should do it. Like I said, I'm not a color grader, but it works for me the way that I do it. Now we're on the second node, and you can label this ones. Like if you want to do something like that, you can hit to label your node, and this is gonna be like gamma and gain. So there you go, you have gamma and gain. Right here you can, again, this is just for labeling, you can select space transform. And then usually on this one I like to do the I like to apply a lot. So what I do is that I right click it, select lot, and then there's one that it's already integrated into DaVinci Resolve, and it's the film looks. And you can try all of this to see which one you like better. I'm gonna try this random one just so you can get an idea. This is the Rec 709 Fujifilm 351 3DI D6 V. Right here I think it looks terrible, but you're gonna go right here into the key and then the key output, and you're gonna drag it all the way to the left until it's 0, and then you're gonna find what you think it looks best. I think like right there, 420, and you have the offset. So again, you can drag it until you like it. I feel like something on 0.20, I like how that looks, if I'm being honest. This is how it used to look. This is how it looks now. Now, I'm not really happy with like the highlights in my forehead still. There is something that you can do to fix it. I'm gonna go once again to the effects, because I'm sure that we can select one. Yeah, see, look at that. Even this, so for the output gamma, I'm gonna select the Blackmagic Design Broadcast Film Gen 4, and it already made a big improvement. There we go. That's how it's looking right now. And that's how it used to look at the very beginning. So I like it. I like that. Now we're gonna go to, let's see. So this is the one where we use the LUT. That's all we're gonna do with it. We're gonna go to the fourth one, and this is usually where I mess with contrast, shadows, color boost, saturation, detail, all that kind of stuff. So first of all, we're gonna go to contrast. You can see how it looks. Usually I go between 1100 and 1300 depending on the situation, but for this I think like right there, like 1100, yeah, right there. 1060, we're gonna leave it in 1120. Again, this is not always gonna be exactly the same, so you might find doing even 1300 on your contrast depending on the situation. I rarely do that. It's usually between the 11 and the 1200, but sometimes I've done that. Now if you want to add some detail, you can just drag this. It's gonna look super sharpened if you go all the way to 100. You just want like a little bit of like more detail. Usually something like that would do the trick. And let's go to shadows. A little bit more of shadows, not so much because then it looks very unrealistic. Highlights, gonna bring those highlights down a little bit to -12. I'm gonna go to the first node again. I'm gonna bring the gamma up a little bit and maybe the gain a little bit lower. There we go. I like that. Now we're gonna go to the fifth node, and this is where you're gonna go to the gamma and the gain into this rainbow circle. Here it's very basic, so if you put it into one side, it's gonna go that color and then that color. So obviously for this type of situation you don't want to go too extreme, so I usually like to do the very minimum to this. I like it to look as natural as possible when I'm doing this type of videos. And then I'm moving the gamma a little bit. I like that kind of yellow greenish. It kind of gives it a more street vibe in my opinion. So that's how it looks already. You can keep going with this and change it as much as you like, and you'll probably be surprised with how different this can look. Even if we go here and change the LUT, for example, and we go into film locks again, we can probably select one of the Kodak ones, and it gave it a little bit of a warmer look. Fuji is known for like its more green type colors. Oh, I forgot. In the first one, you can also change the temperature if you like. I usually do it on the first node. So I like it how it looked on the very beginning, but I might go a little bit -180, and then you can change the tint a little bit. If I'm gonna mess with the tint, I would rarely make it look more red or pink. It's usually gonna be towards the greens, but I actually like how the tint is already. And if you wanna make your job easier for your next clip, you're gonna right click into your video and you're gonna grab the still. So now it's gonna be right here. So if you were to color grade another video, let's say this one right here, let's find a good key moment. Let's see. All right, let's see this one. And this one is pretty dark. This is how it used to look, but we're gonna select the grade, or the node that we use for the last color grade. So we're gonna apply it, and that's how it looks. From here, your job is gonna be a lot easier because you're not gonna have to do a lot of stuff in here. Like, you're not gonna have to change a lot of things. Usually, that doesn't mean that you're not gonna have to do any improvements or move anything, because the light change, you're gonna find yourself adjusting some of these settings. Again, it might be the gamma, the gain, the colors, the saturation, the contrast, all that kind of stuff. But again, this is very basic color grading. If you want to know more about my camera settings, I'm gonna be uploading another video in the future talking about that. They're very simple, they're very easy, we can get it covered pretty quick, but it's important to get a more similar result to this. If you know how to change your settings in camera, I go for the flat image profile, and you can edit those and make it even flatter than what it is already. I hope this was helpful, and if you have more questions, also let me know down here. Like I said, this is very basic. There's not much to it, and there's probably different ways on which you can do this. You don't have to necessarily do it the way that I did, or I'm not saying that this is the way that you should do it. This is the way that I do it, and that it works for me in very simple steps. When I am color grading on RAW or log, it usually takes me a little bit more steps to be able to get the look that I want. But for Nikon flat profile in 8-bit, this is all I do pretty much every single time. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.